Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. Today is Maven Monday. I'm your host, Brandon Welch, and I'm here with Caleb. Get out there, Agee. Explain that shirt. What is up with that?
It's just
You're just trying to make me feel invincible or what?
We're recording on a we're recording on a Friday, so this is my athleisure type wear, so it just has some encouraging things.
Did you run to work today or what?
Yeah, I jogged in. I'm wearing shorts today. You can't see that part of me, so
who knows what's going on down there. Hey, this is the place where we answer your real-life marketing questions so you can grow your business, eliminate waste in advertising, and achieve the big dream. And the big dream today all starts with your leads and how you are handling them.
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
Yeah, ask me a question.
Out of all the people we've served, like just coming in here over the hundreds of businesses, how many do you think have a chiseled out sales process from like website to we're at the sales presentation and it's done?
How many actually have it? I'd be surprised if it was half. I mean,
yeah, it's way less than half.
It's less than that. That would be a generous.
I can think of three. That pop into my mind that are like they had it figured out,
completely figured out.
And here's the crazy thing: they will come into our door, either already spending multiple six figures, some of them millions of dollars, or prepared to. Mm-hmm. And if I were to go out in the other room and hand my 12-year-old a stack of $100 bills that equals $10,000, and just told him to take it and do whatever he wanted with it, it would literally be that insane. Actually, my 12-year-old would probably do a better job, but I don't know, maybe not my 8-year-old, but we'll see. So we are throwing money that has already been spent literally to the wind, and we want to bring you some data today to clarify what I promise you is going on if you haven't spent time every week to babysit, not babysit, but actually direct and tell your money and your leads where to go. Yeah,
it seems like an obvious answer, but this handoff, this balance between the marketing and the sales process, when people become a lead, that's the moment where they shift from being a marketing prospect somewhere out in the world to being a sales prospect. Those two, that's a very cold way of looking at a human, but the sales part of that very often is where the leakage is. You might be getting a high volume, you might be getting strong lead flow, you might, but you're saying I got weak leads. Well,
leads aren't weak.
We're gonna challenge
You're weak.
You're
right?
weak. Yeah.
So at least by the research, 65% of businesses do not have any sort of defined lead to sale process. It's just happening from people reach out and they say, oh yeah, well, let's set an appointment. Let's try to get you somehow to the finish line. And so by just a little bit of care, just a little bit of intention on this, I promise you're going to make your advertising more profitable without spending an extra penny. Matter of fact, you could probably reduce your budget and do these things and do so much better.
A lot of you are taking these leads, putting them on a round robin, maybe in your CRM, handing them off to salespeople and saying, hey, go sell them. And then you're wondering on the back end why they ain't selling. We're going to give you some pointers as to why that might be.
Yeah. So rule number 1 is the 5-minute rule. We've talked about this before. You know it's true. We're not the first ones to tell you it. But why do we keep just one day getting around to fixing this? Because I would say most of our listeners don't have a steady 5-minute rule in their business. But did you know that you are 391% more likely to convert a sale if you call it within 5 minutes versus even 10 minutes later? Like 5 minutes is the cutoff. 391% more likely. It's like almost 400%. Yeah. So, and then also, businesses that reach out within 5 minutes are 100 times more likely to connect versus waiting an hour.
Yeah.
So it goes up drastically after that.
Yeah. So you're sitting there on your phone or your computer, you fill out the form on the website, you become a lead. Well, you just think about you're in that mindset right now. And if Brandon calls me within the next 5 minutes, I'm way more likely, because I'm in that mindset, to pick up and connect with them.
There's some real math here that says if it just even doubled your likelihood of connecting with that lead, how many times would that have to be true for you to justify somebody to sit there all hours of the day answering that phone call?
Yeah. Or you could look at it this way. Brandon mentioned those $100 leads, which, all in could be more, could be less, depending on your industry. Imagine putting $100 bill on the desk every time you get a lead in, and if they don't respond in 5 minutes, I would take $100 bill away from your team. You need to help them visualize this. There may be an activity that you can do and say, hey, that's $100 just for round numbers. If we're not following up in 5 minutes, we just threw it in the trash can.
Yep.
Just light $100 bill on fire. I think that would be a great
really
lesson.
Good effect. You see what you made me do? Yeah.
Come to the bathroom. We're going to flush it down the toilet.
Yeah. You'll come. Yeah. You see. Yeah. So, don't do that. Maybe do that. I don't know. I would make
that feels
I'd
a
make
little,
a visual
it feels
example.
a little intense, but
but we don't want to be mean, but we do want to be very, very intent on saying, like, guys, just get over yourselves. The 5-minute rule will save you so much wasted advertising.
Yeah. I think also you can work in some automations here to help you support your team and their ability to respond quickly. So this does not replace the human touch, because I think a lot of people are leaning on these automations, maybe a little too much. But if you can have some sort of text message or email or both or a call, and you are reaching out to somebody in maybe a not creepy way, but enough and quickly,
yes,
you should be doing that. And that could supplement maybe the immediate response from your team might be on a different call. You may not have the manpower to pick it up in 5 minutes. Well, hopefully they get a text as well.
Yes. Rule number 2 is the keep calling rule. Shortly after the 5-minute rule, this is the most violated one. And everybody says the same thing. I don't want to bother them. And did you know that just by the world that you woke up in this morning, just by the nature of human overstimulation, that it is not only not bothering them, it is expected and average that a person still responds after 7 or 8 points of contact.
Yeah.
Just the initial, just to get them on the phone in the first place.
Yeah. There are a dozen, I'll just think in my personal life, a dozen little random things that I know I need to do, but I have not gotten around to. And a few of them I've taken maybe an early step of action. I've called somebody about it or whatever. I still need to do those things, and nobody's calling. Nobody's asking me to schedule, to set it up, to make it happen. And they should be. If they would, it'd probably push me forward, and they'd get that sale a little bit quicker.
That's right. Yep. There are a bunch of things I need now that people just haven't followed up with me on. Yeah. I've got money. I'm a buyer on the loose. And so what you need to be thinking about is how have I systematized that just always happens no matter what? You could do it as simple as a legal pad that says, here's all the prospects that came in today for your appointment setter, and, cross them off when you've taken them to the next step. Until then, put them on your list for the next day. And we have an episode that was really about how to pace this out. But people are like, should I call? Should I email? Should I text? The answer is yes. You should call. You should leave a voicemail. You should then text. You should follow up next day, or leave an email, follow up the next day, say, hey, did you get my email? I mean, there's a systematic thing to this. And I will say even more than that, we're going to talk about nurturing, not just calling and saying, hey, what do you want? How can we move this forward? It's like in the process, there's a tremendous amount to be done, even beyond that. If we're sending them things of value, and where they've raised their hand, they stuck their head on the ground for just a second, and we're like, that was our permission to add value to them. Yes. Not our permission to get them in our door right now. Yeah, necessarily.
And that goes back to, we didn't say this, but almost every time we say the word lead, we say a lead is a person with a need. This person has a need, and I need you to get it through your head that your goal is not to, in this moment, it's not to sell them something. That is the business outcome that we're trying to get.
If it was, you would be annoying them.
Yes. If you have it in your head that I'm trying to sell them, or I'm trying to get them to set an appointment so that I can sell them something, then you have the wrong mindset, and you will actually self-defeat, because you will be bothering them. You will feel like a pushy salesperson. But if you know they have a need of the service that I provide, or the product that I provide, and I need to give them the opportunity to fulfill that need, then you have no problem calling them every single day until they tell you to stop.
Yeah. And this doesn't have to be some Wolf of Wall Street high pressure thing. It, like, just a tiny bit of focus on, hey, when's the last time we called our leads from a week ago even, would be a good start. We have a client who we've worked with for years, has hundreds of leads in a month, and their business has done really, really well. They've grown. We've talked about this business on this podcast. And they, like, things were a little softer for them. And we were just like, cool. Just to make sure, are we following up with all the leads we've already generated? This is like middle of the summer when things are always soft, right? And it's like, well, no, we left them a voicemail.
Yeah.
And they even have a CRM that told them that, which good on them for having a CRM, but use the CRM for what it's good for and automate your prompts to follow up.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that 7 to 8 touch points. That's like HubSpot data. That's pretty reliable, like research a lot of people cite. But beyond that, that's just to get a hold of them. The average is 28.5 points of contact before you get them from initially raising their hand to the sale.
Yeah. They
And
say
it's like-
simple transactions maybe are on the low side of that, more complex.
Yeah.
It's higher. That's the average. That's the middle. If you have a complex product or a complex purchase, it's north of 30, probably in
Wow.
the 35 range. So
Yeah.
think about that. How confusing or complicated is your product? You need to expect to have to contact them 30 times.
Yes. And so companies that are good at nurturing get a 50% less cost per acquisition versus those who do not. If you took your advertising budget and literally cut it in half and said, well, I only have to spend that to get the same amount of customers, if all I have to do in between is a little bit of training and intentionality and follow-up. And by the way, this is not permission for you to go just, beat your people over the head saying, follow the process, or why aren't you doing this? No, do not do that. You want to encourage a culture of winning, a culture of like, hey, this is the good that happens when we do this, not you're bad and you haven't been doing it, because
Yes.
this is ripe for celebration. You guys can do so much more with watching the numbers go up and celebrating that. And I would suggest sharing that reward
Yes.
of the hard work.
Yeah.
That alone won't motivate it. But what I'm saying is, you just spent half of what you spent on marketing last year and you had the same amount of customers. How would that feel?
I feel great.
That would feel really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be happy for you to spend half, or, as an agency, you could just keep it the same and
Yeah.
double your business, right?
That's right.
Seems,
Yeah, that's the inverse
seems,
math.
yeah.
So nurtured leads make 47% larger purchases on top of that. So not only are they going to close more often, they're going to spend more money with you because they trust you. They've seen the value in your tenacity. People actually do appreciate follow-up and professionalism. People appreciate people who are talking to them, about what matters to them. And this is what you're doing. It's not going to your very sweet, very kind, very organized office manager and saying, call more and bother these people. Don't do that. Help tell your entire organization, guys, these are people that need our help.
Yes.
They're crying out. They're drowning and they're asking for a life raft.
Yes.
And it's like, what if we aren't the ones that show up for them? What if somebody else, some other jerk in an empty suit is the one showing up for them? What happens then?
Yeah.
And if your company values are solid, and if what you believe and the ways you do your work
and
is
how you
solid,
change the world.
and how you change the world is solid, that's a hop and a skip going like, do we believe this or do we not? And if not, love you, but maybe you shouldn't work here, right? But if we believe this, we are on a mission to help businesses confidently grow without spending money on advertising. And so if we don't handle this with care, we aren't answering our calling. And so that level of energy is what you got to bring down. And I don't care if you're a law firm. I don't care if you're a plumbing service. There is a way that hopefully you are doing the things you're doing for a good reason. And that good reason is what should drive your tenacity and your desire and your compassion to follow up with these leads like they are people about to get taken advantage of or lost in some other person's business. And
they're going to
solution.
have a lesser experience because they didn't go with
Yes.
you. And you owe it to them to give them the best experience,
Yes.
which hopefully you believe is through you.
So that becomes the foundation of your courage and your tenacity to follow up with leads like they ought to be followed up with. And all we got to do from there. So point 2 is keep calling. But point 3 is the script problem. If you are just calling for the sake of calling and saying, you filled out a form on our website, how can we help you?
I'm just following up on the form you filled out on my website.
missed opportunity
Wrong
because
answer.
hopefully your website language is promising something, either the ad they clicked on or the ad that they knew about in the world or the pain that you claimed you could fix for them. That should be self-evident by how they reached out to you. If they were on your website and they came from the page about gutter service, don't call and say, it's Lindsay from Hooter Scooter Roofing, and I'd like to, how can I set your appointment? It's like, oh, this is the conversation. I hear you're having some problems with your gutters. Tell me more about that. That is altogether different. You validated them.
Yes.
You started a conversation rather than trying to be an inconvenience and force them into a commitment.
I almost feel uncomfortable, just my personal thing. I feel uncomfortable when I call somebody and I feel the need to explain my situation. Hey, I noticed it rained really hard the other day. I'm using the gutter example, and it was just pouring over the side of my thing. I think I have some junk in, but there's this weird thing when somebody answers the phone or they're following up with me and they're just like, hey, how can I help you? Or I'm just following up.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm inconveniencing them by giving them the 4-minute explanation, whereas they should be like, oh yeah. And they should be validating my explanation. They should be giving me the time of day.
Yeah.
Make sure you're connecting with that and you're allowing them to speak. You should be asking good questions instead of telling good answers. That goes back to how to win friends and influence people. The old great conversationalist, he said, I didn't say much of anything. I spoke less than anything. All I did was ask good questions. So let's check it out.
Now.
We should try
ask
that.
some good questions.
Yes.
How are you meeting your people where they are? How are you encouraging your staff to see that this is helping them, not bothering them? How are you celebrating, not just the moment you get the sale or the appointment, but the moment that you knew you had permission to make a difference? That is what good lead nurturing and good lead culture should be about. And so, look at the clues. Look at where they came from on the website. If they're getting the form fills from the website without like a little indication of where that form came from, what page, get with your nerd and fix that.
Yes.
Because you can just start the conversation. I hear you're having XYZ, or maybe the form itself asks.
Yeah, has some check boxes.
Yeah,
you
some
need
checkboxes.
What do you need? Blah blah blah.
But then let's talk about from that first compassionate connection to how do you hand that off to your salesperson? Are you just setting blank appointments on your salesperson's calendar and then having them walk in blind? Because if so, you are mishandling that person's time, that person's perception of what needs to be done, and you're really not holding up to your mission as a company. I'll promise you.
Yeah, that's point number 4 is the handoff problem.
Yeah.
We're talking about from the setter, the person who has diligently, now that we've talked about it, diligently followed up with every lead and nurtured them properly. And you guys have your systems to nurture them properly. But this is arguably one of the biggest fall-offs is that person had a wonderful conversation. Let's go back to me and my gutters. I just talked about how awful my gutters are full of, leaves and nuts and there's a bird's nest in there and I need somebody to come clean it out. Well, she just heard that whole story from me. If she doesn't write down what happened, then when the salesperson comes to my house and they try to sell me gutter cleaning and they ask me now what's going on, I feel like I just had to tell you the whole story again.
Yeah, and if that guy calls, hey, this is Bob from Gus's Gutters, tell me about what you're...
I like your fake business names.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Gus's Gutters, I heard you needed some help. It's like, no, hey, I heard you got some Tweety birds in your gutters, all right?
Yeah.
It's like, when can I come over and get those out for you? That's validating. That's off to the races. So I don't know why we chose a gutter business, but get out of the gutter and into your business, right? And what we want to do is increase that cohesiveness from all of the touch points of your company, from your website to your first person they talk to the person that follows up. And then like the holy grail would be the automations in between, the texts that say we'll be out today, or we'll be out whenever we talk to on the phone, and an email just confirming. And then afterwards saying, how was Gus? How did Gus do for you? Right.
Yeah.
And so guys, we're looking at things that are all common sense. There's a pile of statistical validation that these are problems in almost every business.
Yeah.
And they're probably a problem in your business. And we want you to win so bad. We want to work the marketing. We don't make excuses. We want to find every inefficiency to shore up for our clients and for you and for our mastermind students. But if you don't treat that with the sanctity that it is, that a human being asks to connect with you to give you money in exchange for the thing you are supposedly the best in the world at, then it's your fault that your marketing is unprofitable.
Yeah. What I would challenge you to do right now is go sit down, write out from birth to death, the beginning to the end of your sales process. And maybe there's a couple versions of this, but you can maybe make it generalized enough that it's flexible to the different entry points that they would come in. You need to write out every step in that process.
And then what happens?
What is happening?
And then what happens?
What is happening? Yeah, all the way through, so that you have acknowledged, okay, then if you have in-home sales consultations, then salesperson comes to house and they have a conversation about this. They need to cover these main things. Make this, it's not a script that you're building. You're personalizing, because we just talked about making that a real thing. You're personalizing your follow-up calls from your appointments, your in-home sales conversations. These are all principle-based. They're not script-based. They're not, there's maybe bullet points on a conversation. If you don't have this written out from beginning to end, you need to go do that, and you need to share it with your team like this week.
Yes.
Right now, the whole
Whiteboard
team. Not even one group and the other group. You need both groups to see exactly what's going on. Your appointment setters, if that's a whole different department, if you have a call center following up on leads, if you, whatever that looks like for you, if it's whoever sits at the front desk, they just pick up the phone. They need to be aware of the whole process through sales, and sales needs to be aware of the whole process before it gets to them.
Yes.
And your marketing team should also be aware of the whole process
100%.
too. They should care about that as well.
Yeah. How you're going to have that conversation is not, guys, what's our follow-up? Show me how many times you followed up with this customer. Do not do that. It's less than it should be, and you're going to be frustrated. You're going to go and say, I got a message from above from a place called the Maven Marketing Podcast. Or you're just going to say, I heard this and it made me wonder, are we treating the people that interact with our business with the highest amount of intentionality as possible? And bring back your mission. Bring back, this is why we do what we do. This is who we're serving. And like, draw the picture of that customer and say, we're lucky that we got her across the finish line, but there are thousands more of her that are just begging for us to do a really good job, between them kind of sort of needing something and being bashful and raising their hand, and us giving the full confidence that not only are we the best ones to help them, we will do it with the utmost respect and purpose possible.
Yeah.
And then from there you go, take the avatar and say, how does she get from here to a happy life? That is marketing at its finest.
Yeah. Make that process as, I think you can make it really idealistic, but then come back to, what's the first step we're going to take? I think it would be dangerous for you to say, we're going to go from 0 to 100 this week, because your team is not ready for that necessarily. I want you to challenge them. You're going to make it.
Add one more touch point a week.
Add one more a week and see what happens.
That would be a great.
Or let's circle back to last month's leads and start calling. That's the kind of simple thing that will pay exponential dividends on the marketing dollars you've already paid. You've already paid for them.
Yeah. That's the good and bad news.
Yeah.
This only rescues money you've already spent.
Yeah. We say dividends. This is literally the dividend check they're handing you is your leads. And if you don't reinvest those, it's a good analogy right there.
Yeah.
Then which is calling them.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Or sending them a box of chocolate covered cherries. I don't care. There's something in between that you can be doing to warm and show these people that you love them.
That's right.
And you want to help them. So, all right. So quick recap. The 5-minute rule, you're too slow at following up. We all know that. The keep calling rule, call them more often than you think you should. 30 is not too many. It's probably average. There's the nurture rule. Keep adding value every step. It's not just how can we sell you something? It's how can we help you, right? And then the last rule is the handoff to the salesperson. Keep that communication and that intel on that customer cohesive. You are going to win. We can't wait to see you win. That is why we're here, so you can win. We just get unreasonably excited about the things you are doing in Small Business America. We actually believe that is the thing that will change the world for the better, because you are the heart of the owner right in front of your small group of people. You're not a corporation. You can affect change. You can make your communities better. You can make your kids and your team's kids' lives better. You have the power to do that as a small business owner. And when we get to help you do that just a little bit more, our tank is overflowed. That's why we're here. That's why I have a company. That's why all these people outside this camera work and do the work they do. And that's why we show up here every week to answer real life marketing questions. And we'll be back here every Monday doing that, because marketers who cannot teach you why
are just a fancy lie.
Have a great week.